Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Little Learners on the Go. And today we're going to be talking about health and nutrition. And for some of you, you've just started listening to Little Learners on the Go. As you can see in the description, I've been doing in the field of early childhood education for over 19 years now. And we as we grow in this profession, because it is a profession. As we grow in this profession, we really need to understand the ramifications of everything we do concerning the children, right? We're concerned about the whole child, meaning not just academics, not just physical development or social emotional, right? But the whole well being of the child to include health, safety, and nutrition. And so I really wanted to talk about health and nutrition. And initially, I was just going to say, call it, nutrition, excuse me. However, they go hand in hand, right? Health and nutrition go hand in hand. And what we are seeing is really, I want to say almost an epidemic in regards to the way that we are raising our children in America, just in all, right? And especially in this area as well. All of them matter. All of them matter. That's why we do Little Learners on the Go, because my heart's desire is to educate parents, right, for their children. I have two young men now, me and my husband, and just being in this field has taught me so much. I feel that every parent needs a parenting class because you're doing something you've never done. You don't know how to parent, okay? It's as we go along. And so you need information, you need tools, you need resources, and you need tips as you are going along in this journey. I want to say something here because childhood obesity. Let me just read this briefly. Childhood obesity is a serious health condition that involves having excess body fat early in life. The extra weight often starts children on the path to other health conditions such as diabetes and high blood pressure. Childhood obesity can lead to poor self esteem and depression. All right. So that's just something I looked up about childhood obesity. But the reality of it is that it does exist. Um, and, we think that if someone is slim, that means that they're healthy. And that is not the case. Okay. That is not the case. And so, what I wanted to do today was just talk about health and nutrition because they go hand in hand. And I've been doing this, like I said, for 19 years. I had my own childcare facility um, in my home for 18 years. And so, as you know, a lot of our bad eating habits are ours as adults, right? And it may have started when we were young. And now all we're doing is passing those bad habits on to our children. Okay. And so the first thing we can do in regards to health and nutrition is model it, right? This is something that I've done in my program. And this is something that we were taught. But it's one thing to be taught something, and it's another thing to implement it. Okay, the doctor can tell you all day, drink more water, drink more water, drink more water. But if you never drink more water, guess what? It was just information. Okay, and so we really need to start looking one at ourselves and then modeling these behaviors for our children. Okay, and this is something. If you're an educator, whether you're in the school sector or if you are in the early childhood sector regarding a child care facility, um, it is best to model these behaviors for the children. Something I do all the time is, oh, show me your muscles, right? When we're talking about, our bodies and being strong. Well, how do we keep our body strong? We need to eat properly. We need to get enough rest, right? We need to have physical activity. Okay, great. So let me see you eat whatever you've put before them. And oftentimes, what I find with families with parents is if the toddlers are very fickle, 18 months to about 2.5, 3, sometimes it can go a little further, but that is the time frame, right? When you really got to work with that palate. And so, they'll give in, right? Oh, they don't like this. They don't like this. Well, sometimes you didn't like it. I didn't like guacamole as a child, but I love guacamole now, right? So there's some things that because you have not been introduced to it, or it could be your palate at the time, that we need to continue to introduce the food to the child, right? Now, I say introduce. That means put it on the plate, right? That does not mean shove it down the child's mouth. That does not mean tell them, if you don't eat this, da 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 da. But in regarding that, you don't get dessert if you have not eaten dinner. Okay, dessert is a treat. Dinner is to keep your body healthy. So you don't get to eat dessert if you have not eaten your dinner. So I've seen this where parents will give the children chips and juice and donuts. I remember one time in my program, and I didn't allow food into the program unless it was for a dietary restriction. And I remember a child coming, they had a Starbucks and a donut. Okay. And I was just like, okay, this is not going to go over well. And I just said, I'm going to put this away. Because my parents knew the guidelines of my program. So in the handbook, newsletters, all kinds of communications, right? And so mom said to me, well, I paid for this. And I said, I understand that. I said, and it'll be in the fridge. So when you or whomever picks up, she can have it, right? So I didn't throw it away, but at the same time, you have to abide by the guidelines and the rules and regulations of this program. And I think we don't realize that we are setting our children up for failure. If I'm giving them a donut and coffee or chocolate milk or juice first thing in the morning, I'm telling you, and you wonder why they are acting out in class, it's a sugar rush. Think about a sugar rush when you want something sweet, right? Often right after that, a couple hours later, our bodies crash and burn, but their little bodies crash and burn. Their bodies cannot take it. And so now you got this child running around when they should be sitting down, right? Or doing large group, whatever they call it, large group, circle time, all of it's the same. It's just a different name. But with children, young children, the best time, optimal time for them to learn is, in the mornings. And so that's why childhood programs and early childhood programs are putting forth all this effort in the mornings, because that's when once they're up, they're vibrant, right? They're ready to go. Their little bodies are ready to move. And so they're crashing. They're crashing before anything gets started. You're trying to figure out why your child's so cranky. Well, you just gave them about 52 grams of sugar. So what is that going to do with their body, right? So we really need to start thinking from that perspective. I remember that's my educational portion, but as a mom, I always gave my sons a hot breakfast. Even the children in my program, they always got a hot breakfast. They didn't get a cold breakfast. They never had a cold breakfast, right? Because I wanted to promote health and nutrition. And I understand some families don't have anything. Some families wait until the children come here. We understand as early educators how this works, right? Some families they don't have the means, or they have not been taught. So it's our job as the professionals, right, to now give the children and the families the tips and tools and resources they need, right? The child is coming to our program or into the school facility, wherever, they're both facilities. It's our job to ensure that we are providing them with something with health and nutrition, right? So something that is healthy and nutritious, excuse me. So yes, we do need to do that. We need to introduce them to fruits and vegetables, right? And water. Our bodies are 80% water. We cannot thrive off of juice, juicy juice. I mean, everything. I've seen kids with Takis. I mean, all this dye, all this sugar, and it's just not okay. It has its place if you're going to give it to them, and it affects their teeth. Fruit snacks. Let me dive in a little bit, okay? So sorry about that, but fruit snacks are not good for your children's teeth. I did it as a parent when my son, my firstborn, was young, and I took him to the dentist, and they're like, "You need to stop giving him fruit snacks. He's gonna have cavities." And I was young, I didn't know, and that's just that I was young, but I was a new mom. Let me say that. So I'm thinking, oh, this little pack of fruit snacks is okay, and it was not. Right? It's not okay for their teeth. All right. So let me give you some ways to introduce healthy eating to your child. And these are just these tips that I've done and little, not tricks per se, but it just gets them to think outside the box, right? So you're already telling them like, oh, you need to eat your fruits and vegetables to be strong and healthy. Like, let's see. And I would eat with them and model it, right? You want to model the good behavior before them. All right. So smoothies are a great way to introduce your children to fruits and vegetables. I mean, because some children, I don't understand it, but I've seen it. Okay. They've never had fruits and vegetables. Okay. So, yogurt, if you want to give them yogurt and fruit skewers. So, if I did this one year, a couple of years in my program, during our summer learning program, where we made fruit skewers. The children made the fruit skewers and then they dipped it in the yogurt, right? So, strawberry yogurt or blueberry yogurt or something of that nature. And they absolutely love it. Children love to dip. I don't know what that is, but yeah, they love to dip. So if you can get them to dip it and taste it, oh, what do you think? Right. So, and I actually allowed them during that time it was like set up like a fruit bar so they could go through and pick the fruits they wanted on their skewers, right? So they put the skewers together, excuse me, and then they dipped the fruit into the yogurt. All right. And you can do yogurt with Cool Whip or whipped cream. I've done a few sprinkles before, just to make it pretty, not too many. Just different ways to get your child to try something new. Okay. But you can use Cool Whip. Cool Whip is a little lighter than whipped cream. And so it's just a dollop. It's not a lot. You're not smothering the yogurt with the whipped cream. Okay, it's a dollop. It's to get them to indulge in what you're trying to introduce to them. Okay. I've also taken graham crackers and crushed them over the yogurt, right? And so that gives it a different texture. This will help children sometimes with sensory. It'll help their palate, right? They start to taste different textures, or maybe they just like yogurt and you want to introduce something else. This is a great way to introduce something else to their palate, okay? And it's proven. I've done it through the years, okay? In regards to vegetables, you can mix the veggies into the pasta. Now, I know they have spinach pasta and different types of pasta, but just depending on where you are in life and your budget, right? This is a way you could do it. I did this quite often where I mixed, in childcare facilities and things that we cook in bulk. And so pasta and like a Alfredo type pasta, and I would put peas in. Now peas, most people don't like peas, but peas are really good. And so, I mixed in peas quite often, and it was a great way to introduce the children to peas, and they absolutely loved it, right? So you can mix different things in. You can try spinach into a tomato-based pasta or an Alfredo. But a great way to introduce is to mix the vegetables into a pasta, okay? And let's see. For your veggies, okay, carrots, celery, peppers, you can have a little bit of dip. not too much, where you're smothering. Whatever we do, we don't want to smother the food in anything. That's not helping towards nutrition. We want to dip. Okay, so having a little bit of dip for them to taste it in, it's like, oh, okay, wait a minute, what's this, right? So you may do a little ranch. You may even try guacamole for them to dip it in. So it's just a salsa, not so much for your veggies. You could do that with your veggies. But think about I want to say think about your palate, but I don't know what your palate is. But if you want to introduce, these are a great way to, get the child, introduce them to it, right? Because most of the time, often kids face the first thing they do is, what's this? What's this? And so one thing I often say is, you don't even know if you can't say you don't like it if you never try it, right? So if you can never say you don't like it if you never try it, right? And so it's like, wait, okay, well, that's true. And so now they're a little more curious, okay? And they would want to try it. I am going to link here in this podcast episode, in the video that comes out. I'm going to link the nutrition, the My Plate, so you can see what a healthy plate looks like for your child. And I am going to put some nutritional videos that I've done, pretty much songs, called Eater of the Day, so that you can see or your child can hear it. It's just a way to introduce your children to grains and fruits and vegetables, because we want to raise healthy children. And so we want to combat childhood obesity and bad eating habits. And because we want them to have healthy teeth, healthy gums, healthy bodies, right? And please, please, please introduce your children to water very young. The pediatricians will tell you. And so please listen to your pediatrician when it comes to those things. I remember our sons were young and they were playing football. And I was a working mom, so I had my business, and they had to be at the football field at a certain time. So I didn't always have time to cook initially, right before they had to be at the field. And so I'm running, and so I was running to McDonald's. Bad move, bad. Can you say bad? Bad move. And when they went to the doctor, their cholesterol was high. And they told me it was definitely from their diet. Okay, so I had to readjust some things, and I understand we're busy parents, busy, right? Running around most often to provide a life for our children and our families, and make sure that our children are in these activities. But we still have to be mindful of what we're doing on the way. So I started cooking earlier. I started choosing a different option regarding what they ate. I started doing maybe like Subway, a sandwich, but it would be fruit with it instead of, McDonald's, where they're getting a burger and fries, which I don't know what I was thinking, but especially before football practice. But, young boys, they eat really football. They eat a lot of meat. They have to stay, they're beefing up, or they're healthy, but for their health, to keep the weight on. Nevertheless, I made a decision me and my husband, to change their diet, and the cholesterol went down. And so these are things we have to pay attention to. The sodas, all of those things are going to play a part in your child's health and nutrition, and the habits that they start to create and will continue. So it is our job to teach them early about nutrition and different ways of doing things to make it healthy and to be healthy. All right. So I wanted to give some tips that I've been doing for over 19 years that really, really help, just to introduce children to different things, guacamole, all of those things. Tell them that, you can't knock it until you tried it, right? And then you may, parent, have to try it with them. Yes, you might just have to do that. Green peppers, red peppers, raisins. Think about craisins. That's a great way to get children to eat as well. So craisins are great. Raisins are great. All right. Be mindful of grapes when they're young. Dice them up. Okay. We know that that's one of the main choking hazards for children are grapes. So please be very, very careful with grapes. Okay. It's one of the main choking hazards for children. So you have to really, really dice up grapes. Okay. I'd say for under two, don't even worry about it. But if you do, dice it up very finely, because you do not want your child to that and hot dogs. Okay, since I'm talking about nutrition and I'm just thinking about the quick things we serve our children sometimes, please be mindful with grapes, hot dogs, and nut products. Okay, peanuts, nuts. Um, they can have allergies very quickly. Um, most child care facilities are peanut free. They don't even serve. I know we didn't serve any nut anything, no peanut butter, no anything, because of just allergies. Okay. So we have to be mindful of different allergies as well with our children, and be mindful of what we're serving them because of the nuts. Okay. So please be careful with nuts, like peanut butter, sending peanut butter. Um, one of my sons, they love peanut butter. And I like peanut butter. So my whole family does actually, but you just want to be careful when you're working with young children because of the allergies. Okay. These things can trigger very fast, and we have to be paying attention because that can turn really ugly really fast. And so we want to make sure that we're not having these things around the children. And if you're introducing it as a parent or having your child bring that to school, most schools, again, are peanut free. They don't even allow you to bring nut products into the facility, just because of how it can even be airborne for children. So be mindful of that as well. But there are many ways you can even, freeze applesauce, on a stick, or, there are so many cool tricks and tips for parents to for us to really get our children on a healthy path regarding their nutrition. Even the yogurt, you could freeze the yogurt, right? You could freeze the yogurt, make a yogurt cup, put some, fruit in it, just different things that you can do to promote health and nutrition. And no, it's doesn't take a lot of money to eat healthy, right? But you do want to eat healthy. All right. You want to promote this with your child. And even parents, I want to encourage you, eat healthy so you can be here for your children. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode.